Fani Willis is a lawbreaker. It's official. Judicial Watch, through our litigation on a lawsuit against Fani Willis for documents about her collusion with Jack Smith, the Biden DOJ, and the Pelosi January 6th committee, we have proved that she was colluding with the committee, despite protesting earlier that there were no documents. And here is my initial reaction to the disclosures that I posted earlier this week.
Well, Fani Willis just confessed to having records of her communications with the January 6th Pelosi operation, the Get Trump operation. She only confessed to this yesterday thanks to a Judicial Watch lawsuit. Of course, when we first sued and began asking for these records, they told us they had no records. Well, it turns out that wasn't true. In fact, the only reason we got the confession yesterday was because a court last week found her in default. She didn't bother to answer the lawsuit under law as she was supposed to. But rather than turn the records over, as the court, I think, strongly suggested, she's using a loophole of exemptions and privileges to hide the records from the American people. Now, we're going to push back hard in court. Our heavy lifting will continue. But in the meantime, this really does confirm, A, she was in collusion with the Pelosi operation to get Trump. B, she has no respect for the rule of law. C, she has no respect for your right to know.
Yeah, that's a pretty good summary, and we did a little special report on it as well here. Let's run that.
A Georgia court forced Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis to confirm additional documents exist about communications Willis had with Special Counsel Jack Smith and the House January 6th committee. Willis admitted additional documents exist. However, she cited various legal exemptions for her reason not to release the documents Judicial Watch sued for. Willis, who spearheaded the prosecution against President Trump for his challenging the 2020 election results in Georgia, previously denied having any records. Just a week prior to Willis's confession, the Superior Court in Fulton County, Georgia entered an order granting a motion for default judgment against Fani Willis in Judicial Watch's lawsuit for communications Willis had with Special Counsel Jack Smith and the January 6th committee. Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton had this to say about Fani Willis.
Fani Willis is something else. We've been doing this work for 30 years, and this is the first time in our experience a government official has been found in default for not showing up in court to answer an open records lawsuit. Judicial Watch looks forward to getting any documents from the Fani Willis operation about collusion with the Biden administration and Nancy Pelosi's Congress on this unprecedented and compromised Get Trump prosecution.
Fitton also promised his followers on X, quote, "Heavy lifting Judicial Watch will push back in court against this disingenuous secrecy."
Yeah, so she gave us the response on Monday, late in the day. That was the deadline. And, you know, the court ordered her to give us the documents or explain why they're being withheld. And she gave us a half-baked response. And I don't think it's sufficient to comply with the court order. Obviously, Judicial Watch's lawyers will look at it more carefully than I will as the layman Judicial Watch president complaining about the response. And as I said, you know, we'll push back. But, you know, we've been doing FOIA. I've been doing FOIA long enough to know a deficient response when I see it. First of all, she didn't respond. It was the office of her unnamed person. I don't know who did it. According to the record, it is the office of, what is it? Excuse me. Oh, I don't have it. Oh, wait, I was looking at the wrong page. Forgive me, everyone. Yeah, Open Records Department. What's the Open Records Department? We don't know. This is what she specifically said, or whoever the anonymous staffer wrote. Members of the district attorney's staff, having conducted a search as directed by the court, the office provides the following response. Regarding all documents and communications sent to, received from, or relating to Special Counsel Jack Smith or any employees in his office, a diligent search indicates that no such documents or communications exist. Regarding all documents and communications sent to or received from the United States House January 6 Committee or any of its employees, a diligent search indicates that any such documents and communications are legally exempted or accepted from disclosure, and then she cites the laws. But they did turn over one document that had been publicized already by the House, which proved that they were lying, which was a letter to Benny Thompson, who was the chairman of the Rump January 6 Committee, in which Willis herself signed a letter as part of an official request from her to access records that may be relevant to the criminal investigation. So Fani Willis told something false to Judicial Watch, which is that they had no records. And she confirmed, thanks to this court order and Judicial Watch's diligence, that that was false. They do have court record. They do have records showing what I interpret to be collusion with the Pelosi January 6 Committee to get Donald Trump. Isn't it interesting? The January 6th Committee is happy to help, it looks like, Fani Willis. They can't be bothered to investigate what the heck the FBI was doing invading its capital through confidential human sources, right? So this is a major development, and it's a key piece of evidence now we have that there was collusion stretching from Fulton County to D.C. to get Trump on unprecedented charges, and she's now citing privileges on a case that's dead in the water. All these privileges they're citing are, there's a lawful basis typically to cite them. I'm being charitable and generous, but they're discretionary in the sense there's no requirement to hide these records from the American people, assuming there's a legitimate basis to do so, and I'm not assuming that at all. Oh, you can't see this. It will harm our investigation. It will give away our secrets. That's often an excuse, not a reason to withhold records. And we don't believe necessarily they did a diligent search. So when they say they have no Jack Smith records, I don't believe it. I mean, they already lied to me and to Judicial Watch and the American people that they didn't have any records at all, that they had no records at all. And now they just confirmed that they do have records. And remember, as we highlighted in the earlier reports, she was found in default. She didn't even respond to the lawsuit in court. And didn't want to follow the rules to reply under law to us. And the court found her in violation of the open records law as a result of being in default. Fani Willis is a lawbreaker. It's official. Again, the court finds defendant Willis, in her official capacity, is in default and has been since 11 April 2024. She never moved to open the default on any basis. She never paid costs, and she never offered up a meritorious defense. As far as I'm concerned, she's waived all of her privileges. You don't show up in court, and you've got these privileges you want to throw out? No, no, no. I don't think the court should let that happen. Judicial Watch and a state court forced Fani Willis to confirm additional documents exist about her collusion with the partisan Pelosi January 6 committee to get Trump. But Willis, signing legal exemptions for a prosecution that's essentially dead in the water, now wants to hide these records from the American public. And so we're going to be pushing back against this secrecy in court now. So we have to respond and try to hold her accountable, try to get these records, more information about them. But we don't even know they didn't tell us how many records there are. And, you know, in federal FOIA cases, at least, you know, the government, when they withhold records, they have to give you some information, enough information in terms of details about the records individually and which exemptions apply and how, in order for us to be able to ask the court to overrule the exemptions. Because they have all the secrets now. And so they need to disclose more information, I would argue, to Judicial Watch so we can adequately fight back, assuming that she's even allowed to assert these exemptions to withhold information. So this is an example of, even when they don't give us the information, the records, the admission that the records exist is huge, because they told us they didn't exist. And now we have confirmation there's more than just one letter. A letter they didn't even want to tell us about. Congress disclosed it. And there's more. How much work were they doing with the Pelosi operation to get Trump? Was Congress misusing its resources to have a prosecutor target the target of its investigation, Donald Trump, to harass him during the campaign? No wonder they all want pardons up there. No wonder Schiff wants a pardon. No wonder Benny Thompson wants a pardon. Is Pelosi going to get a pardon too? So a great victory for Judicial Watch, a great victory for the American people in terms of getting information about what I believe to be the worst corruption scandal in American history. The misuse of prosecutorial resources in federal and state courts to target President Trump and his allies. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, and it's information we would never have known but for Judicial Watch's heavy lifting, persistence, diligence. So those of you who supported Judicial Watch, this is what happens with your support. We're able to accomplish these successes for the rule of law and accountability. Now, does more need to be done? Yes, and we're committed to doing it. There's always more to be done. We can't prosecute Fani Willis, but we can hold her accountable through this process and educate the American people about what she's been up to. And hopefully people who are in positions to take action to hold her more accountable in different ways, they take notice. I mean, Congress has been following our lead here. They're demanding these records too, because they saw what was disclosed to Judicial Watch and what the court ordered here, or what was not disclosed to Judicial Watch. As far as I'm concerned, she's in contempt of Congress, or at least Congress is going to argue that, it looks like. So some great news there. As many guests, she's playing stonewalling, right? She's stonewalling Judicial Watch and the American people. But on the other hand, she's also disclosing as a result of Judicial Watch's strong legal action. So good news. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.